Hello, everyone. Namaste. I'm very happy to announce this that after making the few videos on the result preparation for class 10th board examination of 2021, I have been receiving a lot of calls, a lot of WhatsApp messages thanking me for making these videos, which helped the principals and the school teachers to a great extent. And inspired by all the messages and the calls that I have received, I thought of making a few videos more on this particular topic from time to time to help out the principals and teachers across the different schools of the country. And not only of our country, I've got messages from the Middle East as well. A couple of principals sent me messages asking for some clarifications, thanking me, telling me that they have forwarded the messages to many schools of the Middle East, Oman in particular. So with all these things working out in the background, I thought of making a video and answering 5 very frequently asked questions by many principals and teachers. So without wasting any further time, let me make a very short video on 5 questions. And these 5 questions, you always wanted a straightforward answer, a solution. I'm trying to do that. So give me a moment, I'll share my screen with you. All right, so this is just 5 questions by Dr. Swarup Dutta. What is the first question? The first question is the average of the reference year given is not matching with our calculations. How did the board arrive at this average? So many schools, they have sent me the data and asking me, can you so please tell us the calculation, how it has been done. We are not being able to reach or arrive at the reference years mean, taking into account all the subjects of that particular year. So what I'll do is I'll share my a calculation that I did. I'll show that calculation to you. See, this is the scores of one school. I'll quickly fill it up so that I'll show you what I actually did. 65.46 was the Sanskrit score and 69.83 was their Hindi B score. So the average of the school, if you see, by simple calculation of Excel, when we type average, we get the average, we drag it down, close the brackets, hit enter. So the school's average with this particular calculation, maths, social science, that was the year of English communicative. So this is the data of 2019. So in 2019, English communicative was there. So 57.53 was that subject, Sanskrit, Hindi B and science. So going by this calculation, they should be getting an average of 55.82 if 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 subjects are taken into account. Let's assume we are taking only 5 subjects. So we remove one of the subjects from here. Let's say Hindi B we remove. Are we still reaching the average? See, it's still 53. We are not reaching the average. Okay, now let me put back this one, Hindi B, 69.83, and remove the Sanskrit. Does it work out? No, see, it's changing to 53.89. So what I found here is when I removed both these Hindi and Sanskrit, both I have deleted. Now the data comes to 49.90, which is very close to 50.09. The decimal figure that you find over here is mainly due to the fact that, this has been brought to 2 decimal places. If we increase the decimal places, you can easily see that this figure will change a little bit. For example, 444 and so on. If we do it, you see this is slightly changing, right? So this is a possibility that while calculating both the languages, both the second languages has been left out. Because you know what, when I see the scores of these 2 subjects, 69.83, irrespective of the number of students, let's assume even if there are 1 student in Sanskrit, there is 1 student in Sanskrit and there are 15 in Hindi B, this, even if we consider this weightage of number of students, still there will be no difference in the average, because why? These two scores are much above the average of that particular year. So the formula that I showed for basic and standard maths in my previous video is not going to work over here. Here I found only one thing has worked. When I removed both these scores and took out the average, it's closely matching. What is the difference? The difference is, you see, I'm subtracting the average, both the averages, only 0.1825 marks is the difference between what the board has given and what is being calculated, leaving out both the second languages. So when that is the case, what you have to do is you have to write a mail to board, to the examination department, pointing this out to them and asking them if this is the case, that they have left out two languages or not. The board will be in a better position to comment. So just point it out to the board. I'm not telling that this is the only possibility. There can be other possibilities as well, which we cannot understand at the moment. So if there are some other calculations that the board has done, they will definitely point it out to you. Otherwise, apparently, by looking at the data, this is what I felt. So I shared it with you. Now I'll go to the next question. So the second question is this one. Last year, we had only 2 students in basic maths and both were below 26 marks. The bracket that I'm talking about is this bracket, below 26. So 2 children, both below 26, 100% children below 26. This year, we have, let's say, 15 kids. Do we put all the 15 kids in this below 26 bracket, taking into account that 100% of the students were in the lower bracket in the previous year? The answer for this is no. Wait for a moment. The board has declared that it is coming up with a set of frequently asked questions, which you can expect to get published within a few days. Till that time, just hold this for a moment, because I'm pretty sure this type of cases has gone to the board, to Sanyam Bharadwaj sir, and he has worked out solutions for that, and he will be coming up with a solution very soon. So do not need to worry. And the opposite is also true. For example, if all the two children, they were in some higher bracket, what to do? The same thing. Do not worry. Do not worry about the bracket as of now. Just hold on for a moment, because some sort of modification of the policy is expected in the next few days, which is going to come out in form of frequently asked questions. Clear? And another question of basic and standard maths is, I have for reference year 2019 or 2018, but it has been given as a note that for basic maths, refer 2020. What to do in that case? Now here I am telling you very clearly, understand this, for all subjects, refer 2019 or 18, which is your reference year. But only for basic math students, when you calculate the average of those students, take the average of 2020 as your reference average and calculate it like any other subject. So when you do that, you separate the standard maths and basic maths and calculate it if you are given this note of 2020 to be referred to. But again, I'm telling, just hold on. Some sort of modification or changes is expected by the board in the next few days. Some sort of alteration of the policy might be done. We have got hints regarding that. So just hold on, wait and see. I'm pretty sure you'll get a good solution to this as well. Third question. This year, our scores are much higher than the reference year. We have already shared our scores with the students, how to moderate. How can we bring students who got high score this year, but we know that he has to be fitted in a low score bracket? What to do? There's a child in your school, for example, who has got 65 marks out of 80. When you take out that calculation, taking into weightage the unit test, the midterm, the post-midterm, or the pre-board, and you have found out that these children, they have got around 65, 66, but you need to bring certain children in a bracket range of 40 to 50 as well, or let's say 26 to 40. What to do? And you know that if you are taking it from the, in ascending order, the children who were basically in the lower rung, they are to be fitted in 26 to 40, but you find that these children are hovering somewhere around 60 to 70 or 50 to 60. What to do? How to reduce the 10, 15, 20 marks from their score? Now the schools are a little bit skeptical and afraid about this. They are, just wondering what to do, how to bring down the score so drastically down. So understand this thing very clearly, that the difference of the reference year score with your present score has happened mainly because examinations have been conducted in an environment which is not conducive of conduction of the examination. The environment was not examination environment. The children had the privilege of referring to Google. They could refer to the textbooks. Someone else might have helped them out because most of these online examinations were not proctored or invigilated. So there are a lot of possibilities. So these possibilities, when these possibilities are there, you cannot really give importance to the score that the children have got for this particular academic year. And certainly it cannot be compared with the board score, mainly because the board question papers are much standardized than question papers of individual schools. In individual schools, there are schools which have set very tough question papers where the scores have gone down. Some schools have set very easy question papers in form of Google form, objective type questions, and the scores have gone very high up. So do not be misled with these scores. These are not the scores which are valid. These are not the scores which shows the real ability of your student. So how to check the real ability of the student? Go back and check in time of the historical data. In all developed countries, they have that cumulative record of a child, how the child has performed year on year, starting from his preschool to class 10th. And if you understand this, we are not telling you to go that back in time. What I'm telling is go back to class 9th and see when examination was conducted in a proper environment of invigilation being done. Children do not have the access of referring to answers from outside sources. When that was the case, what has been done? Or what was the score of the child? So if that score, if you take into account, that score is a much more valid and a reliable score. So this type of scores, when you see, for example, I am just using my annotation tool over here. For example, you see in 9th standard, the child's average was 45%. And in 10th standard, the child's average has gone to 65%. So what you do is you take out a mean of these two. And when you take a mean of these two, find out the weightage that you can give. For example, you now want to reduce the child to a bracket of 40 to 50. And the child's average you want, for example, or let's say 50 to 60, this bracket you want. And the child's score you want to bring down to 55 from 65. So how to reduce the 10 marks? So what you do is you give this 9th standard, this is the 9th standard score, and this is the 10th standard score. You give a weightage of this score, let's say 70% weightage, and this one a 30% weightage, or 80%, 20%, or 60%, 40%. Whatever is the case, by taking a simple Excel calculation, whatever is the case, where you reach this score of 55, you can use this formula to bring the average of the child down to a desired score, which is the real ability of the score. You are taking the 9th standard score of the child into account and the 10th standard score into account. Now, apart from this 9th standard score, if you have conducted any other assessment, oral assessment or a project, you can take that into account as well. So what I mean to say is take out an average of the performance of the child across different examinations, which shows the reliability of the score and the validity of the score to be kept high. This score that you are seeing is a misleading score. And as I told earlier, the child might have got help from a friend, a relative, the book, Google. These are the possibilities. Now, if the child argues, no, I improved myself, My score was in class 9th 45%, but I have studied hard and I've improved to this level, and I'm not happy with the score that you're giving. So what you can do is you can tell the child very clearly, this is the moderation policy that the board has decided, and going by the policy of the board and the historical data of all the students, we have to categorize students in different brackets, and going by ascending order of the scores that the students have scored, your score comes in the lower segment because your performance in class 9th was also low. So taking into account, we have calculated like this. But if you are not happy, if you're not satisfied with the score, you can definitely appear for the board examination. And when the situations will be conducive, when the corona factor will not be there, that time you appear for the board examination and increase your marks, better your score. That is a possibility. So I hope you understood what I told, how to reduce the score. And one more important thing, I'm finding like many teachers, they are afraid to touch the scores. How to do it? How to reduce 10%? Be brave. Do not hesitate. The scores that you are seeing is a misleading score. Don't worry about that. Do the way I'm telling, it will help you. And whatever you're doing, do not forget to document that in the rational document. And one more important thing that I shouldn't miss over here, that these decisions are not to be taken by one single person. This should be the decision of the result committee of the school and properly documented in the rational, and taken the approval of all the committee members. If there are external committee members or even the internal committee members who are not able to attend a physical meeting, even if it's happening online through Zoom or whatever, keep a recording of that meeting and ensure that the minutes of the meeting are approved even in form of mails sent by the different committee members. That can act as your document. Now, the third thing is did I miss a thing? I have covered the average. I've covered this one. I've covered the difference. Now, the fourth one, sorry. The fourth one is the average of the best 3 subject scores to be taken as the score of the second language. What does it mean? Some schools, what they're thinking is that the reference year score that they have got, they are trying to calculate the reference year score for the second language as well. Like if it's Marathi as the second language, they are trying to find out the reference year score of Marathi, taking into account the 3 top scores of the reference year, which is not to be done. Here, 3 subjects course average mean for each individual child. For example, if I am the child, if my Marathi score has to be calculated, or my Telugu score has to be calculated, Malayalam score has to be calculated, French score has to be calculated, what has to be done? You will see how much I have scored in the top 3 subjects. For example, my top 3 subjects are English, maths, and social. So these 3 subjects marks we will take, add up, divide by 3. That is my score in my second language. I hope it is clearly understood. This is the policy of the board till today. Now, we have also got a hint that this policy might change as well. The board may come up with certain modifications of this policy within the next few days. So I am again telling, wait and observe and wait for the frequently asked questions to be published by the board. So if there are 2 modifications that are expected, one is regarding the basic and standard maths. The second is regarding the second language. And third is, of course, the bracket. How strictly we need to follow the brackets. Now, very clearly it has been told that the bracket, try to match it as far as practicable, but if it is not exactly fitting in, percent by percent or student by student, that's okay. Keeping the overall average of the school and the subject within the permissible limit. If the range varies a little bit in the bracket, it's not a big problem. And the final question for today. Can we consider different assessment of moderation policy for different students? For example, student A, can I consider his 9th standard score, and student B, can I consider his prelim 2 score in place of pre-board? So 2 different exam, or for someone can I consider 9th standard score, and for someone can I consider an oral assessment that I have taken? Yes, you can. It has been very clearly told by the board that whatever it takes to find out the reliability and validity of a score, to judge the student you go and do it and judge the student on a fair ground. It should not be unfair. So whenever you are thinking that the child has got a huge score in 2020, 21, and we are trying to reduce it, it's not an injustice being done to the child. It is justice being done to the score, because whatever scores are there in, the child has got in this particular year, as I told earlier, multiple possibilities are there, which might have contributed in the increase in score of the child. Similarly, if the child has scored, less in this particular year, where the situation was not conducive for them to study, classes were not held, online classes the child was not comfortable with, in that case, the scores have dipped, and you feel that the child is a good child throughout, till class 9th, he was a brilliant performer, or she was a brilliant performer, you can refer to the score of class 9th, the way I showed earlier, and pull up the score of this particular child as well. So understand this thing, that ability of the child is very, very important in case of judging the child. But yes, of course, as I said, the performance was good, but because the child has not studied, his performance has gone down, and someone has studied and his performance has gone up. You did not force the child into a particular bracket based on only 9th standard data. Look at 10th standard data as well and see if the child has really performed well, or if the child has not performed well in 10th standard as well. So give some weightage to 10th standard data as well, not fully go by a 9th standard data or something like that, because changes may happen. So with this, I hope I have been able to make a few important points very clear. And whenever you are facing some problem, do not worry. I'm there to pull you out of the trouble. I'll try to help you out as far as I can and my knowledge permits. Wherever I cannot help you, or my knowledge is not permitting me, I will definitely get back to the board authorities and trying to find out a solution and provide you the solution. But I'll make one thing sure, that I do not give a solution which is wrong solution. So if I do not know it, I'll tell you to wait and get the solution when I get it. And if I have the solution, I'll tell it to you. And the different techniques that I'm telling you, like how to do a few things, these are problems, the problems being solved at my level. I have done it in my school, or I've suggested in some other school how to do it, how to talk to the parents, how to inform the parents about the policy, how to reduce the data and not offend the parents of the students in any way. So these are the things that the schools need to be aware of. Rest of the things are just very simple. Still, if you have questions, post it in my comment section below. Do not forget to subscribe my channel, because from time to time I will be making a lot of videos on these particular topics, both circulars, result policies, and you can go and check my other videos of YouTube. You will get a lot of learning videos over there. And I'm pretty sure that if you stay connected with me, it will be a mutually beneficial relationship that we can develop. And I've put my WhatsApp number as well, 721819966. Any issue, do not hesitate to drop me a WhatsApp message. Maybe I cannot answer all the questions together, but whenever I get some time, I'll try to definitely either answer your question or make a video and put it in the YouTube. So thank you. Start working on your, the data. Do not be afraid. Any problem, just talk to me. Drop me a message. I'll be there for you. I'll be there to help you out and give you proper solutions. Thank you. Namaste.